It's the big showdown. NATO versus BRICS. Which one are you going to place your fortunes with? Stay tuned,
for
everybody.
the best meat you have ever eaten, check out samsbutchershop.com. Go and shop around. When you go to checkout, enter the promo code TT for a 5% discount. Check it out.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Trailer Trash Tim. Hey, let's go for a little walk this morning. You want to? Do a little walk and talk. I am here in beautiful Fort Yargo State Park in Winder, Georgia. And this is a beautiful campground. I just wanted to go for a walk this morning, maybe show you around. It's really early. It was really noisy here last night. I got to show you this scene down here. It was really noisy. A lot of kids here. I didn't think it would be that crowded. I figured yesterday was Labor Day here in America. I thought everybody would have gone home by now, but here they are. And the kids were really yapping a lot and making a lot of noise. But anyway, I want to show you a shot of this lake. I wish I'd got this campsite instead, but take a look at that. Is that just not beautiful? Man, if you had a fishing pole, I bet you could have a field day. Really, really pretty here. And I want to go for a walk and talk because I got something on my mind that really affects everybody in the world, including those of you who are viewing my channel. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. I appreciate it. You may know that America is part of NATO. And when you talk about NATO, you're talking about, of course, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which came into being as a result of World War II. And so they formed this North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Is that what I said before? You know, it was organized to keep law and order in the world. And but NATO, of course, has become something completely different this day and age. It's just basically a dummy organization. It's the United States, and we continue to expand our global footprint all over the world, going into nations, sovereign nations where we have no business. And now, of course, we're in Ukraine, as everybody knows. We've got no business being there. It is a conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and they should be allowed to settle their differences without our intervention or picking sides one way or another. But this is what we have. I want you to go back in time to the 1970s and 80s. I kind of came of age in the 70s. I was born in 61, but I can remember back in the 70s during the Cold War, and we had the old Soviet Union, of course. The leader of the Soviet Union at that time was Leonid Brezhnev. Brezhnev died when he was 75 years old. And I think he was generally seen as kind of a doddering older guy, kind of maybe out of touch. And he was followed, if memory serves, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this, but he was followed by Yuri Andropov. And Andropov was in his late 70s, and he only lasted a short season. And he was succeeded again, if memory serves, by Chernenko. Now think about this. All these men were up in age a little bit, although I think it was Chernenko. And again, I could be wrong about this, but I believe he was 68 when he died. I'm 62, and I know medicine has advanced a good bit. But, you know, these leaders were kind of up there in age, and they were presiding over a failing system. And if you remember, the president at the time was Ronald Reagan, and he was asked one time about having a summit with one of these leaders, but they kept dropping like flies, you know. And Reagan was saying something like, well, I'd like to have one if they could stay alive. And Reagan, of course, was up in age. Reagan took office when he was 70. He was 78 when he left. But I want you to think about our situation today. We've got a doddering old senile fool as our president. Biden is about 80. He is mentally incapacitated. He is obviously suffering from dementia or some form of mental incapacity. Another one is Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader. And, you know, I've been talking about the Uni Party and how Republicans and Democrats are essentially the same animal. Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden have been BFFs for years, okay? Both of them came to power with relative modest wealth, if you could call it wealth, and now they're both multi-millionaires. So show me the difference in Republicans and Democrats. Think of another one. Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old, does not know what's going on, yet serves on powerful Senate committees making very important decisions, but she doesn't even know who she is. And these are just three examples of this aged leadership that we have in the United States. And let's be fair, Donald Trump is 77 years old. All right, when if he could win re-election, he would go into office at the age of 78. I mean, is there a point in time where you just say, enough? You know, we've got to get some more youthful people into positions of authority. They need to be younger, because the jobs that they have are very taxing and very demanding. Of course, their own political philosophy is paramount as well. But what we have now is just, it's like the geriatric division of world leadership. But I want to talk a minute about NATO and BRICS. If you don't know what BRICS is basically an answer to NATO, particularly in the area of economics. And when we talk about BRICS, BRICS is an acronym which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And these aren't the only nations that are involved with BRICS, but these are the big players. You stop and think about this a minute. Russia and China alone, these are two big economic powerhouses in the world, as is India. India is fast rising in this world as an economic player. Chinese manufacturing dwarfs that of the United States here in, oh, there's ducks down by the lake, here in 2023. And all these nations have banded together to form this alliance. And I want you to think about this. Whether it's stated or not, you can believe this and take this to the bank. What they are attempting to do, I want you to see the ducks. What they are attempting to do is to change the reserve currency of the world from the dollar to something else. Now that's huge when you stop and think about it. That is really, really big. The dollar has long been the world's reserve currency. But if America should lose that status of the dollar as a reserve currency, that's a game changer. Now I want you to stop and think about this a minute. NATO has always been the strongest alliance in the world since the Second World War. But times are changing. Do you know that, as I noted in a previous video, it was Joe Biden who ordered the attack on the Nord Stream pipeline, which supplied energy to Western Europe and Russia. This fact has largely been suppressed by the German people. Most of the Germans don't know what happened. They know what happened, but they don't know who did it, because it's been suppressed. But you can believe sooner or later the word is going to get out. And it ain't going to be good for us. And Germany is one of our main allies in America, a main NATO ally. Now, how do you think they're going to feel when they find out their NATO ally bombed the pipeline that brought energy to their country? And they're going to be going through some harsh winters because of this. That was an act of war. And apparently there's been no response, although there certainly could have been. It would certainly be justified. And I'm telling you, I believe the NATO alliance is falling apart. And I reference these aged leaders for this reason. NATO is kind of like these aging world leaders like Brezhnev and Chernenko and Andropov and Biden, and you got to say Trump and McConnell and Feinstein. NATO is being propped up on stilts. All that we know how to do is go into other countries and wage war. But for how long can you do that and be sustainable? At what point do you run out of money? Well, we're already out of money, and everybody knows it, or everybody should know it. We are a nation who cannot defend our own borders, yet we send our time, our treasure, our resources, and our people to foreign theaters to fight wars we have no business being in. Afghanistan, Serbia, Libya, Ukraine, Iraq. It goes on and on and on. Is that not beautiful? You really need these times of getting away. And it's a pretty place, really peaceful. I'm really looking forward to my trip to Florida next month. I'll take you with me. I think NATO is on stilts. I think it's on life support. When you have the two other world superpowers, China and Russia, who have formed an alliance, along with India, along with Brazil, which is in the Western Hemisphere, the future does not look promising for the United States, wouldn't you agree? Particularly when you consider we ostensibly attacked one of our own allies. What sense does that make? Who makes decisions like this? I'll tell you who. Old, senile people with mental issues. Geriatric presidents who don't know how to tie their own shoes, and they send their press secretaries out to try and explain these actions. There is no explanation. That's why all they do is babble, because they can't defend it and they don't know what the hell they're doing, what they're talking about, or what is going on, other than getting the American people in deep, deep trouble. Isn't it a shame that here we are doing whatever we can to protect ourselves, yet we are lorded over by such incompetent leadership, such as Biden and McConnell and Feinstein and Harris, and it goes on and on and on. And here I am in the state of Georgia with a Republican incompetent governor in Brian Kemp, who still to this day is in denial about the election shenanigans in Georgia, particularly in Fulton County. Doesn't have anything to say about the indictments of Trump. He's all for it. He got no problem with it. He wished Trump would go away. Kemp would run for president tomorrow if Trump would get out. I'm convinced of that, as would other people. But this is where we are. Who would you rather be in bed with, NATO or BRICS? Something to think about, don't you believe? Hey, listen, thanks so much for joining me with me today. If you take just a moment and hit that thumbs up button and like this video, I would appreciate it. If you haven't yet subscribed to the Triple T channel, go ahead and hit that subscription button. That would be fantastic. Place your comments down below. I'd like to hear what you have to say about NATO versus BRICS or anything else for that matter. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll answer you if I can get to it. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Go out there and have a tremendous Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow. Trailer Trash Tim from Fort Yargo State Park in Winder, Georgia. I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.